Hey, what's happening, YouTubers? Back with a brand new action figure review, and because y'all mentioned in the last video you wanted to see this one, so today we're going to take a look at the new McFarlane Toys Warhammer 40K Ultramarine Terminator MegaFig. And before I proceed, I just want to say thank you to all for commenting on my latest Warhammer videos and for being receptive to the fact that I'm not too knowledgeable about the lore or the game. I appreciate all the criticism and feedback in the comments below and informing me of other lines like Joy Toy. Speaking of which, we're going to take a look at the box art because I didn't realize this till some of y'all mentioned about the Joy Toy Warhammers. The box design is actually in unison or similar to what Joy Toy does with their Warhammer figures. So that's kind of new, and I don't know of any other company that kind of like makes the design or redesigns the box so it's in unison with another company's design of the same line. But let me know in the comments below if that's ever happened before. And speaking of the box art, it's the same thing you saw with the Khorne Berserker box, except this one's slightly bigger because it is a mega figure technically. So on the top of the box you see the Warhammer logo and the McFarlane Toys logo. And then in the middle of the box you see the Ultramarines logo. And then on the right you see the artwork. So on the bottom left of the box it says Ultramarines Terminator. And then on the bottom right it says contains one articulated collectible figure and accessories. And to the right of that you see the Warhammer seal of approval of officially licensed product. Continuing on with the box art, on the right side of the box you see the Warhammer and McFarlane Toys logo at the top, the logo for the Ultramarines in the middle of the box, and then on the bottom, and then on the left side similar, except you see that full artwork. And if anyone knows who that person is on the throne, please let me know in the comments below because that's pretty interesting. But on the side you see it says Ultramarines Terminator, and on the bottom you see the Warhammer official license seal right there of approval that this is in fact officially licensed product of Warhammer. And then on the back of the box you see the image artwork of the Ultramarine Terminators, which looks badass by the way. That's enough about all the box art. Let's get the Ultramarines Terminator out of the box. Alright, here's the Ultramarines Terminator out of the box, and right off the bat I'm already finding some flaws with this figure. I'll get to that in a second, but let's take a look at the accessories first. So just like all McFarlane Toys figures, this Ultramarines Terminator comes with a base plate that has the Warhammer 40K logo, and watch out Homer. And then the Ultramarines Terminator comes with this sick gun, which looks pretty badass. Let me know in the comments below what it's called. Someone in the last video did. Let me know what the Khorne Berserker weapon was called. But I like the gold finish right here, and the sculpting looks nice. I did notice, however, it's pretty hollow and light. And I only bring this up because the one that came with the Ultramarine Reaver was kind of a heavy plastic. And I'm wondering if this was done because of criticism or feedback, given that, you know, when you put these on their hands they tend to droop a little or can't really stay up, so they went the hollow route. Or are they just cutting back? Because this is like a heavy piece of plastic, this is pretty hollow. It's a constant theme, you'll find out here in a little bit, but I still like the sculpting work of this. And just like the Khorne Berserker figure and the new figures in the wave, it comes with a data file card which has the same artwork you saw that was in the back of the box. On the back is a little data file. Feel free to pause it if you want to go ahead and read it. Alright, now let's take a look at the figure itself. We'll get started with the head sculpt first, which looks nicely sculpted. I like the sculpt work of the heads, of the mask or the helmet. However, I'm looking at the source material. It looks like they could have used a little bit more paint work, like a little bit more blue on here. So there is definitely some paint detail missing. And the reason why I'm pointing this out now is because a couple of you commented in my previous videos about where some paint work could have been added. So I am trying to pay attention a little bit more to that so I can critique it a little bit more fairly. So yeah, I think there are some opportunities there where they could add a little bit more paint work on the helmet or the face sculpt. Then we'll take a look at the rest of the figure. That same level of sculpt detail is applied throughout the rest, just like the other Ultramarines you've seen before. What I'm noticing now, or what I try to look for, is the paint application, because I know a lot of you commented in my previous two videos that they're nice, but one thing they could use is a little bit more paint work, and that I'm starting to see. Again, I'm still learning here, but I do like the paint finish on this logo right here. You can also see it on the skull right here on his right arm. But the interesting thing about this is they have that kind of like finish underneath the logo, and I think that's done intentionally. But I like that a lot, and I also like the detail right here. Zoom out a little bit. On his shoulder pads you can see kind of like this worn down, like it's been through battle. So I do like that as well. And then on here you can see these skulls being painted on there. If there's any significance to this, let me know in the comments below. And then you see the sculpt work on his knees. And then here on the bottom left leg you can see this inscription. Okay, I tried to zoom in close enough and try to get in focus, but the inscription on his lower left shin says, "What is the terror of death? That we die with our work incomplete. What is the joy of life? To die knowing our task is done. I stand alongside the warriors of honor, and the warrior who acts out honor cannot fail. His duty is honor itself. While I appreciate the sculpt work, one thing I have to make note of that I mentioned earlier about hollow, I talked about his weapon being hollow. That's the same thing for his upper torso. This piece is incredibly hollow. And the reason why I bring that up, and I noticed the torso is super loose. I mean, look, I can definitely still get him in good poses because, the torso is loose. So it's smooth like butter in terms of the articulation, but I just don't like that the plastic he just seems extremely hollow. Like when we compare it to a regular size Ultramarine Reaver, the plastic they use, the plastic they use on here was a thicker plastic. You can hear it. The one used on this mega figure is super hollow, and that's kind of discouraging considering, like, I'm just noticing it now, like when you move, and if you guys get this figure, you'll know what I'm talking about. When you feel the figure itself, it just feels so much lighter compared to this, where I would have preferred this heavier, heavy-duty plastic. Even if I take this back piece off, this figure still feels heavier than this. And, I mean, side by side, this is supposed to be a mega figure. It really doesn't feel like one when comparing it side by side. And yeah, just the hollow torso really is kind of like it's a point deduction in my book. Despite this figure being extremely hollow, the articulation is still pretty smooth. I was like, wait a minute, these are pinless joints, but upon further look, it's a single jointed elbow, so that's why it's pinless. But it's very smooth when rotating the arm. Same goes for the hand. And of course, because the torso is hollow and it's kind of loose, it is smooth with the diaphragm joint, which is, geez, that's pretty impressive. Regardless if it's like that or not, the legs can kick up. It has a rubber diaper, just like all DC Multiverse figures. Legs can't kick up too much, but the knee rotation, single jointed as well, so not much movement with this big chunky dude, but I guess you wouldn't need to because he's supposed to be technically a mega figure. But yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know if you guys are going to, buy one of these, but I think you'll notice the difference if you already have one of these figures and then get this. You'll feel the difference in plastic quality. Now it's going to jump right into size comparisons. And first size comparison, here's the Ultramarines Terminator standing next to the Ultramarines Reaver on the left and the Chaos Space Marine on the right. Next size comparison, here's the Ultramarines Terminator standing next to the recently reviewed Khorne Berserker on the left and the Big Mech Orc on the right. I just got this recently from BBTS, and this thing is also considered a mega figure, and he's built like a brick, almost same size as this Ultramarines Terminator. However, this just feels more durable and just heavy duty. It feels like a real mega figure. Next size comparison, here's the Ultramarines Terminator standing next to a different line, but still under McFarlane Toys banner. We have some DC Multiverse figures. We have the Collector Edition Wonder Woman on the left, and the best Flash ever from the line, the Flashpoint Flash on the right. And now time for a random ass size comparison, but still keeping with the McFarlane Toys banner, and shout outs to a special someone out there. Here he is standing next to a couple of My Hero Academia figures. We have Deku, Not Todoroki, and Ochako.
My shit in heart.
Alright, so my overall thoughts on the figure. I like it. However, is it worth the $50 price point? Absolutely not. And this is a new price point for mega figures in the Warhammer line, because prior to this, the Big Mech Orc mega figure and any other mega figures were at the $40 price point. However, the regular releases moved up to $30. To me, that's appropriate, or it feels fair at $30 for these because the plastic being used feels more durable, and it's right in that sweet spot of like where current domestic figures are being charged at this point. But this figure, sculpt work looks nice, but the plastic being used, I just don't like the hollow plastic. Sculpt is there, it's just, it kind of feels like this figure was kind of like cutting costs. When you compare it to prior releases and prior Ultramarine figures, the plastic just feels more durable. This one just feels like there was corners cut, and to be honest, it feels kind of cheap. That doesn't take away the sculpt work looks nice, but that's about it, honestly. In terms of that, I don't know if I'd recommend this at $50, especially if you're a Warhammer fan. I'm not advocating to wait for a sale, but I did get this Big Mech Orc for 18 bucks on BBTS. So if you see this on sale, then yes, I recommend picking it up. But let me know what you think in the comments below, YouTubers. Are you going to pick this up? Do you already have this figure? Do you notice a difference in plastic being used for this as opposed to the others? Sound off in the comments below, and like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If not, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.